Sorry for the slight delay for a technical glitch. Hi, good evening. I'm Tom Baker. I'm the founder and director of Heartscope Learning in Overland Park, Kansas. Thanks for being here tonight. The topic we're going to talk about tonight is brain training for decision speed in sports. Tonight is the big picture. There's a second seminar in this series, and once you're registered, you'll have access to that. There's no charge for registering, but tonight we're just going to talk about the nuts and bolts, the big pictures about brain training. These two players, in about 0.3 of a second, it's going to be clear that someone made a bad decision. About 4 seconds ago, this quarterback, thought he was strong enough and fast enough, and now he's wishing he'd made a different decision. Research says that for elite goalkeepers, by the time the ball has left her foot, the keeper's already moving, taking an assessment of the situation and taking action. So at each level in sports, for a 6-year-old, there can be a 30 or even 50% difference in physical skills. By the time an athlete is 17, there's a 2 or 3% difference in physical skills. So increasingly, and probably at professional level, there's even less than that. Increasingly, there's more emphasis on improving mental skills, decision skills within the game. 99% of student athletes aren't going to play professional ball. So one of the questions before we even start is what's your long-term goal? The decision speed training that you'll get here will help in school, with friends, later in job, and just overall quality of life. Just like you can go to the gym and take an aerobics class, you can do a workout at home or at Heartscope with a personal trainer. It's 20 minutes to 40 minutes a day. It's one-on-one with a personal trainer. In this case, you, the parent. Workouts are fun and challenging. So I think now might be a good time to start a video and show you what a home brain training workout looks like. These are just a couple clips of families that are in training. You don't have to understand any of this. Just watch it and get a sense of what they're doing and how they're doing it. Here goes.
My binder, and if you notice, I've got these little sticky tabs. I've got my 1, my 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's look again. I'm going to shift this to the side. What do we see here?
A 7.
And we have
Got a triangle and a square.
So you see how you have your 8 there?
Uh-huh.
You can play that on this because it's 1 higher. Will you place it there? Okay. Now will you draw a card? All right, now it's my turn. I have this purple color, and so if I have 1 of each, the third card must be different. So I actually need that card right there, which is that one.
Squiggle. Purple oval.
Good.
Purple squiggle.
Good.
Purple diamond.
Good.
Red squiggle.
Good.
Take a ready breath. Spine is straight. 6. Go. Find all the 6s. Okay, ready? Higher or lower?
Higher. Lower. Higher. Lower.
Let's have 2 be my target number.
Okay, so
Okay, so then you'll deal the cards.
so if I lay out
Like this.
9,
Okay.
then he would go 2, 9.
Okay, now can you make any plays? Very good.
I mean 7 on top of 6, 6 on top of
7,
7.
very nice. Oh, look at here, I could have played a 10 on an ace and a 9 on an ace. Oh, look at here, and an ace on a 10 and it 7, very nice.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Miss Allie. You have successfully completed your first brain workout. And so as a coach, while your student is using their apps, I'm going to go back through and I'm going to look at a lot of my stuff that I just trained on.
So there you go. You saw the students in that clip were aged 9 to about 15. This is suitable, in our view, for students aged 9 to 21. And best of all, of course, there are no known side effects to cognitive skills training. Because ultimately what we're trying to do is optimize potential. And no one says that there's unlimited mental potential in every student athlete, but certainly most students have additional areas where they can grow. And the current trajectory suggests that vector A says that that's the direction that you're headed. The yellow vectors are things that you can do to change how much of your potential is actually realized. So I promise you, I promised Homer a donut after the second workshop. I'll give you a little bit of brain science today. I apologize for that. You just have to have it in order to understand what we're trying to do here. That's the wrong way. Here we go. So we define cognitive skills as how you learn and knowledge as what you learn. In more detail, cognitive skills those are things that neuroscientists report in MRI studies like the one below. Memory, attention, decision speed, logical reasoning, automaticity. Whereas classroom knowledge, fraction phonics, what happened in 1492, that's what you know. We use the metaphor of strength versus knowledge, and that team on the right, their uniforms are clean, they're listening politely, but the one thing I noticed is how small those guys are. Based on their numbers, those guys haven't spent a lot of time in the weight room, unlike the picture on the right, the Baylor Bears. Those guys are working out, breaking a sweat in the summertime in order to perform better in the fall. So, obviously, the more you lift, the better chance you have, if not avoiding, of at least surviving a unpolite tackle. I won't even read these definitions. The point of this slide is that even in 2001, there's limited research on decision speed. By 2008, there was more sophisticated definitions and research going on. This is a rapidly changing field. It's really exciting, but there's really a lot going on. So I can give you the science side sometime if you want, but let's just try to keep it practical. Most students, probably parents too, know more about how their phones work than how their brains work. We liken it to, phones are easy to upgrade. I would comment that guy with the brick is probably a better driver than the lady with the Google glasses. His arm will get tired after a while. Brains are complex and come with a lifetime contract. So we want to repeat that this is fairly complicated stuff, but it's not brand new. There's a lot of evidence accumulating about how brains can develop. We talked about at each level that there are fewer physical differences. There are obviously sport-specific techniques. If you need to throw a javelin straighter or figure skate in a particular direction, I'm not your guy, but I can certainly help you with overall mental function and decision speed. And the research, even from 2013, says that there are measurable differences in all elite athletes, especially in eye movement, working memory, that's a fancy word, we'll get to that later, response accuracy, obviously, and decision speed, and we're going to be talking about decision speed today. There are common, not to be rude, but when I hear someone say that a particular athlete is born that way, I think that's just an excuse. Going back to our football metaphor, that it used to be farm boys from Oklahoma and Nebraska were the biggest guys on the football field. There wasn't anything inherently different about farm boys from city boys back then. It's just that farm boys lifted cattle. They lifted a lot more weight. So by the time they were 18, they were able to push little guys around. That's not true now. City, country, suburbs, kids lift weights. But 50 years ago, the idea was, you're just born that way. There's no evidence in the research for early specialization. There's no evidence for elite competition. A couple exceptions to that, and I'll clarify exactly what I mean by that. What we do know about expertise, a professor at Florida State named Anders Ericsson has come up with a 10,000-hour rule, and it's rather than specialization or elite play, it's accumulated hours of engaged play. The total number of hours that you acquire over the course of your athletic career, if it meets certain criteria, engaged play, determines your skill level. We obviously don't know when the athlete is 6 years old if they're going to have a growth spurt at age 17 or not. So there's some physical things that have yet to be known or knowable. So it's the mental things that happen between 6 and 17 that then lay the groundwork for the physical skills as they emerge. Their history is respite with elite mentors. Tom Brady has Mel Martinez. George Brett has Charlie Lau. The Manning brothers have their dad, former NFL quarterback. I would let me just say that some parents can be good coaches. Obviously, Archie knew a lot about football and was able to impart that to his boys. My sons are 99th percentile in decision speed because I know a lot about that. But I have to tell you, they're not 99th percentile in bat speed. I don't know the subtle differences that I would need in order to continue to progress in their baseball careers. I can go out and I can find somebody who knows something about swinging a bat, but I can't do it myself. So some of these fancy words, targeted means that if we're trying to build decision speed, we want to target that in a mental workout as opposed to targeting working memory or fluid reasoning. There are reasons why you would target those other skills, and we can talk about that later. But to improve decision speed, you have to have a decision speed-based workout. Proximal is a fancy word for right at the edge, and just like you run on the treadmill until you're almost out of breath, when you're training aerobically, you're working your brain just at the edge of a functional level, and we'll teach you how to do that. Adaptive means that we change the training based on the student's growth and progress. You can't just do the same thing over and over again. A, that gets boring, but B, it's not effective because it's not adaptive. Optimal dosage means, rough terms, it means no pain, no gain. We try to target 200 to 300 minutes a week of neurobic training. That doesn't sound like a lot when you consider that 3,000 minutes is the average amount of time that a student spends in front of a screen. I get a lot of pushback from general public on 300 minutes a week, but it's actually fairly rare I get much pushback from athletes. Musicians as well. Musicians at an elite level understand the idea of how much time you have to invest in order to gain proficiency. So by targeted, I mean if I'm exercising a shoulder muscle that I know just the one that I'm trying to exercise, it's proximal in that it has to be weight that's heavy enough but not too heavy, and adaptive in that the guy in the black shorts wouldn't do the same workout as the lady with the pink wall. So to get those factors, the fancy word is naturalistic. The first choice to get decision speed training is decision speed training at game speed, and so that's always the first choice. And you would never substitute any sort of artificial workout for game time experience. Having said that, sitting in the car, driving 3 hours to a so-called elite soccer tournament isn't decision speed training. So in that scenario, I'd save gas and save time. I'd play locally and invest that drive time in workouts that I can do at home. So even though we see a lot of this, these things in practice, there's no research evidence, even no anecdotal evidence that any of this improves decision speed. Um, talking about playing the violin doesn't make me a better violin player. If I want to improve my skills with my music and my bow, then I need to sit down and practice. So giving me a lecture about violin isn't going to help. Doing something once or twice, even if it's the correct technique, it's not building so-called muscle memory. That just for the record, muscle memory is not in your muscles. All skill is in your brain, right? When athletes, I see this a lot in Little League, that the first base coach is yelling, the third base coach is yelling, the parents are yelling. What does the kid hear during the game? Yeah, absolutely nothing. When there's multiple conflicting input streams, then kids tend to tune out. Down at bottom, high stress and low content. When elite athletes quit, when they get burned out, it's not just stress, it's stress and lack of instruction. Most athletes at a certain level can handle a fair amount of performance pressure. What they can't handle, they say, after they quit, is not getting enough direct instruction to do something about the stress. So obviously there's little decision speed growth if those four conditions, targeted, proximal, adaptive, and dosage, aren't met. But the main reason that doesn't happen is that there isn't enough knowledge in the community, and that's what you're going to help with. You're going to watch this webinar and you're going to spread it around. People who take a short versus long-term view, you would do things differently in the short term than the long term if your growth was building confidence and building decision speed. Goal orientation is whether we're orienting the athlete towards winning or whether we're orienting them towards improving. Now, if you improve step by step and you're working at your maximum rate, you're going to win. But the goal, the way we approach that with athletes is not win at all costs, it's improve at all costs, if you will. Obviously, there are risks to over and under training, especially burnout, and then in injury situations, you get misguided rehab. And at the bottom, number 7, for a 6-year-old or a 9-year-old starting their athletic career now, we don't know what the conditions are going to be like in the sports world when they're 25. If 300 pounds is the typical size of an offensive lineman now, I'm pretty sure it's going to be more than that when these kids are eligible for a pro career. So we don't know what conditions are going to be. We don't know what level of emotional distress that parents today are going to be willing to put their kids through in order to get up to that elite level. So again, our neurobics program is daily brain workouts, one-on-one with a personal trainer. There are 2 conditions you have to meet. It has to be fun, it has to be challenging. If it's just fun, then you're just playing games. If it's just challenging, then the kids are going to burn out, and either the coach or the student athlete is going to quit before you've reached your goals. So you have to achieve both conditions of fun and challenge. So we've got several options. You can, as an individual family, enroll in our Parents as Coaches program. The total fee is around $300. Our fee is $219 at this point. Then there are about $30 to $80 of materials, brain games, playing cards, dominoes that we're going to ask you to buy on through Amazon or locally. So the basic program is about $300. If you live in Kansas City, or we can also do this via Skype. Well, I think we can do it via Skype. I'm not sure after tonight. That we can consult for an hour a week at $500 a month. The best, both for the student and oddly enough for us, is we call free for 3. That's where if you have 3 families at the end of your cul-de-sac all working on decision speed training at home, then we make our part free for everybody. Each family still has to buy the playing cards through Amazon, but our part is free. So the next thing for you to do is to decide if you want to make this commitment. Like any other workout or weight loss or music lesson, is this really something that you want to do? You can register with Cognizone. We will send you some talking points for your friends and families. And you want to set up a win-win workout schedule. This has to be something that's fun and challenging, and a lot of stress on the family is going to make it really hard to meet the fun component. Then number 3, partly through us, but partly through your own network, is to find support for you to fulfill your commitment. So now in hindsight, I'm kind of wishing I didn't pick that slide. So, but the idea behind Free for 3 is, these grown-ups watching this, Free for 3 is that 3 athletes, 3 parents, you'll each register under the same team leader. You'll make a good faith effort to follow the training protocol. We have training videos. We'll provide 2 training Skypes during the course. Each coach has to submit data, and that's what's valuable for us. Right now, I need your data more than I need your money. So you are helping our research by supplying data. So that's why we're doing the Free for 3. This is volunteer only. We would not expect someone to offer Cognizone services, training services, and get paid to do it. So it doesn't have to be a parent, but it does have to be a volunteer. And you can share some of the materials, but really you're going to need 3 separate training kits. So you can be successful as a new coach. Our coaches are going to be 30% more efficient than you, but you're still providing 70%. So it's if you can afford to get coaching here, or you live in Kansas City or want to come here, that's fine. But you can do just as good a job at home by following the recipe. So workout looks like, warm greeting. You'll run through a series of 1 to 3 minute, we call them plays. It's one-on-one coach to student. There'll be at the end 10 to 15 minutes of electronic app play. We prefer an iPad. Don't run out and buy one if you don't have one, but there's some good electronic apps that we can use for that. There's an online option for app play. That's actually my 3rd choice. I'd rather have a Nintendo DS if you have one of those. So the training kit looks something like this after you've purchased everything from Amazon. You'll get a training guide from us that you'll print out and put in a 3-ring binder. We'll help you build a weekly lesson plan, and from that you'll create a daily plan. Don't worry about it. I'll explain more of this in the next workshop. You don't have to be a brain expert. I don't need to be a heart expert in order to get a bypass. In fact, my expertise in brain surgery really doesn't. Yeah. Sorry, that's not a great metaphor. So we can be your science experts. The main thing that you have to provide is fun. If you and the student athlete are having fun when you're doing the workout, then you're going to keep doing it and you're going to see progress. It's like anything else. So I got donuts in the front, now I got chocolate chip cookies. You can tell what kind of physical workout I take. Don't eat all your cookie dough before it's in the oven, and remove, you need enough heat to cook it, but not too much to burn it. So training, if it's fun and challenging, time will fly by, you'll feel rewarded, you'll see visible changes within 6 weeks, and you'll see significant growth in 10 to 14 weeks. On the other hand, if the workouts are stressful, then either the coach or the student is going to resist training. We end up where coaches have to resort to bribes or threats, and someone, usually the grown-up, gets worn out and quits to stop the drama. So then you don't get, not only do you not get the benefits, but you also feel guilty about not getting the benefits, so it tends to amplify stress for the whole family. I know this is going to work because there's a group at Berkeley who did, using these very same tools, and in a non-aerobic format, got amazing results. So we are adding the aerobics component to it, and I'm sure that if you follow the recipe, you're going to get good and in many cases amazing results. So again, is it better to be sweaty or better to be polite? Well, it kind of depends on what your goal is. If you want to have strength in the fourth quarter, you probably need to be building up strength in the summer before the season even starts. So we make this program free for individuals because I don't want financial limitations to prevent anyone from getting training. I appreciate that I can't 100% police anything that's up on the internet, and that maybe there's a Cognizone clinic opening up somewhere in the next 12 months as a result of this video. But I ask you to, if you can play fair, that you do play fair, that my income comes from consulting with teams and school districts. So for any individual parent coaching a student at home, we want to make this available for free. If you'd like me to help on a broader basis, I'll be happy to do that. But we do ask that you play fair. So now, the next thing to do, there's no charge to register. You'll get more coach support, and we'll send you some information that you can share your dreams and your hopes and your goals with friends, family, and teammates. So thank you for tonight, and now for live viewers, I'll start taking questions via the chat window. Thank you and good night.